Hello and welcome to today's video. In today's video I'm going to make an original monster out of Premo Sculpey. Alright, I'll get started right after this. The first thing I did was roll up a couple of balls out of aluminum foil. This will be for the body and the head. So I wanted to get those done ahead of time. Now I am using some Wisteria Premo Sculpey for this sculpture. It is kind of a warm purple. So I'm gonna go ahead and soften it up, get it pressed out. Once I'm happy with the condition of the clay, I'll go ahead and cover the bottom ball of aluminum foil that'll be used for the body. I'm cutting out some extra on the top there for where the head will go. Now I'm going to go ahead and get this all covered and smoothed out so it kind of has a nice consistent layer over the foil ball. And then once I am happy with that, I'm going to go ahead and make his little legs. So this little monster is going to be standing and he's going to have 2 legs and 2 arms, and I'm going to do a little tail for him to help him stand. So I've got the legs with a little bit of feet there. I'm going to go ahead and press those against the body. Now I'm going to use my ball tool to kind of blend the clay together, kind of so it'll smear it across from the feet or to the legs to the body, and that way it'll help adhere to the body, make it a little sturdier. Now I'm just taking a little more clay and I'm going to go ahead and make his little toesies. So I'm going to give him 3 toes on each foot. Go ahead and get those placed in there. And at the bottom, I'm going to take a small ball tool and again drag the clay across just to make it adhere to the feet better. Now I'm going to do the tail the same way. Softened up a piece of clay, go ahead and use my ball tool to smooth it in and get it attached. All right, now onto his arms. So I'm just rolling out a thicker snake of clay, cutting it in half so my arms are about the same size. Go ahead and give them a little bit of a bend. Then I'm going to trim off some so I have a little bit of an angle at the top there where his shoulders will be. Then I'm going to take my needle tool and do some indentions, like these little creases in his inside of his elbow, and then take my ball tool to smooth them in on the top, basically so it blends in so it looks like it's part of the body. Now once I am happy with that, I'm going to go ahead and roll out a small snake of clay to use for his fingers. The same way I did the little toesies, I'm going to do 3 little balls on each hand for the fingers, and I'm just getting those rolled out, giving them about the same size. They don't have to be exact, and some, obviously some fingers are bigger than other fingers. So I'm getting those all attached, and I'm not going to smooth them in with the ball tool because I want them to have a more distinct look. Now I'm going to go ahead and I decided I want to make a little place I can kind of lock the head on top of it when I want to attach it. So I'm going to make this little post so I can kind of key that head in there. So I'm going to go ahead and smooth this piece in with that little post sticking out. I'm going to go ahead and give him a little belly button. And then I'm going to use my bigger ball tool to just add a slight texture to it. I love adding textures to sculptures. I think it makes them a lot more interesting. And it's a lot of fun to add different textures to different creatures. Now that that's all done, I'm going to go ahead and wash my hands. And then I want to make his eyes and a tooth for him. So I'm starting off the eyes with some white clay. Just rolling these out into 2 approximately equal little balls, pressing them down to get the eyeball shape that I want. And then I'm going to add some black clay on there for the pupils. Again, rolling out 2 pieces of approximately the same size into balls, smooshing them down, getting them onto those eyeballs. Now that I'm happy with that, I'm going to go ahead and wash my hands again because I'm going to go back to the white. And I want to make sure all that black clay is off my fingers. I'm going to roll out and do the same thing. I'm going to clean that X-Acto knife or little craft knife off first. Then I'm going to add these little white spots to the eyes to make it look like kind of light reflection. Now I'm going to use some rubbing alcohol and a Q-tip to clean up my eyes. So I just want to get all the little specks and everything on there. I hate working with white, but I learned from Nerdy Crafter that you can use some rubbing alcohol and a Q-tip to clean up the white clay before you bake it. Now onto the tooth. So I decided I wanted 1 tooth for this guy. I'm going to mix a little bit of translucent white, and yellow together to give me this kind of off-white tooth. Then I'm just adding some texture. I got the shape, and I went ahead and made a bunch of teeth, not because this monster's going to have a bunch, but I don't know what size I want to use for this one, and I can always use those for another sculpture in the future. Now I'm going to do a horn, so I did make it kind of a twisted one out of yellow. It has like a little Like unicorns, see how they have that twist to them? So I'm going to go ahead and bake all these according to package instructions. Once those have cooled down, I can start doing the head. So I've got the ball shape that I have for the head. I'm going to add I'm going to cut a little opening in the bottom of it so I can attach it to my body. So I want to make sure that fits on there nicely. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add some more clay because I put that eye up there and it looked like it was a little bit, the head was a little bit too small for both the eyes. So I'm going to bulk this up a bit, give him a bigger head, make him a little more chibi style. I mean, I don't know if that's really a thing with this guy since he's my own creation, but he's going to have a bigger head than what originally is planned. So I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing where I smooth it out. And basically I just rub it or kind of roll it on the table to get that smooth effect so I don't have the texture of the foil showing through when I add the clay. So now I'm going to take my Wisteria clay, smooth it out, and then go ahead and cover the entire ball with the clay. For the head, I did cut an opening for where it'll key into the body. So I've got that all covered. I'm really happy with this. Now I'm going to use my liquid clay adhesive to kind of push those two together, clean it up a little bit with a Q-tip. Now I'm placing the eyes where I want them, pressing them in just a little bit just so I have like kind of a marker, and I'm going to go ahead and cut out that shape with the X-Acto knife. And that way I can push the eyes in, make them a little recessed, and have it so they're not sticking straight out on the head. So I think this will give it a better look than if I just kind of stuck them on there. So I'm getting that all cleaned out. Once I have the size that I need, go ahead and use some liquid clay again or liquid clay adhesive to attach these on there. Wasn't happy with the placement. I switched them around. I was much happier with how they looked. Just minor little changes. Now I'm going to add kind of like his eyelids, even though his eyes are open, just these little ridges so I can go in, blend that in and make them, stick out, cover up, whatever, just a little bit better than if they were just stuck in there without this. So I'm doing the same thing where I take my ball tool, go through and smooth in that piece of clay that I added around the eyes so it blends in with the head. Looks like it's all part of the, sculpture. Once I am happy with that, I'm going to go ahead and add his little tooth and then make him a little mouth. So I really like doing monsters with just kind of one little tooth. I fell in love with Chris Reiniak's monsters, and he would often do ones with a one tooth or whatever, a little buck tooth or a little underbite, and so that's kind of what I've added to my sculptures years ago. So that's what this guy gets. He's got this little underbite with this little tooth sticking out. I'm going to smooth in that mouth, give him that nice lower jaw shape, and then I'm going to use my needle tool to add some textures to his lip and his chin. Go through and mark that in there and get all these little texture marks in there, give him that little roughness for his lip. Once I am happy with that, I'm going to go ahead and add his little unicorn horn. So I'm going to go ahead and cut an opening in his forehead. It's like, sorry, little guy. And then get that in there, get it all cleaned out, use my needle tool to kind of go around and extend that little hole. And then I'm going to go ahead and use my craft knife to cut off some of the excess polymer clay so it goes in there better. Then I'm going to do a little circle around that opening so I can have it look more finished, and I use some liquid clay adhesive there as well. Now to sculpt his ears. So I'm just doing a diamond shape, use my ball tool to add some textures in the middle, cutting that in half. Really like doing these like kind of pointed ears on the top of his head. I think that looks cute. So getting those all on there. Pretty happy with these. I'm going to go ahead and give that one a little bit of a bend, get these smoothed in, keep going around because I want to make sure these ears are on there nice and solid. And I could use some, the clay adhesive, but when both pieces of clay are unbaked, I haven't really had any issues with durability when attaching these pieces this way. All right, so I'm pretty happy with this. Give him a little more shape. I like to add little curves to his ears. Now I'm going to need to add some texture to the head. So once I'm done doing all the texture all over the head so it matches the body, I can go ahead and bake him according to package instructions. So I'll let him cool down, and then we'll take a look at the final sculpture of my original monster that I decided to name Samuel. So Samuel here is just my own little creation. I like doing my own little monsters. I had a lot of fun with this guy. I think he's very cute. Looks like a pretty happy little fellow. You might see him showing up in the background of some of my videos. I'll go ahead and put him on my little shelf there that's in the intro. If you like this guy and you want to see more original monsters, be sure to give this video a like. Also, if you have other ideas of things you want to see me sculpt or create, please leave a comment down below. Alright, well, thank you so much for watching today's video, and remember, never stop creating. Bye. Wow, you stuck around to the end of the video? That is awesome. You must have really liked the video or you fell asleep. Either way, thanks. Well, since you made it this far, you might as well like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already done so. I post new videos whenever I can get them done. Also, if you want to avoid life's responsibilities, be sure to watch one of my other videos. Bye!